In the shadowy depths of the North Sea, a cursed vessel named the USS Mistral drifts, carrying a haunting secret that beckons you into its nightmarish world. Brace yourself for a bone-chilling tale of horror as we unlock the sinister events that unfolded aboard this ill-fated ship. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Simmons, the former XO, guides us through the abyss of malevolent forces that turned a routine rescue mission into a descent into madness. Prepare to be engulfed by an eerie glow that hints at unimaginable horrors lurking below the surface. As you embark on this treacherous journey, whispers of doom and unexplained phenomena will send shivers down your spine. The crew's humanity will be stripped away, leaving behind only monstrous shells of their former selves. Join us as we navigate through the mist-covered corridors of the USS Mistral, where malevolence reigns and despair becomes an all-consuming companion. This creepypasta story is a haunting reminder that some mysteries are best left unexplored, for within the darkness lies an evil that hungers for souls. If you're ready to face the terrors that await aboard the USS Mistral, make sure to hit that like button to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode of spine-chilling stories. If you are reading this, then I am dead, and you are trapped aboard a nightmare-ridden hellship, the USS Mistral, drifting aimlessly with its dark secrets and malevolent aura. I was once the XO of this cursed vessel, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Simmons. Read this with utmost caution, for it contains a haunting command. Abandon all hope and flee from this wretched place immediately. Scuttle the ship without hesitation, for we are trapped in a horrifying abyss, surrounded by maleficent forces that defy comprehension. Consider it a cursed vessel, all souls on board are undoubtedly damned. May God have mercy on your tormented soul if you choose to linger. We were on a treacherous mission, tracking a distress call from the desolate North Sea, emitted by the now-destroyed Icelandic fishing vessel, the Magnus Daughter. We arrived at the haunting scene to witness a fiery trail of oil and debris, and the lone survivor of the Magnus Daughter, a lifeless fisherman with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. As we ventured further into the thick fog, an unsettling sense of dread consumed us. The fog-shrouded fragments of the Magnus Daughter collided with our ship's hull, unnerving even the bravest among us. We had anticipated a straightforward rescue mission, but what we encountered was a cryptic puzzle of death and despair. The true horror began on that eerie night. The Mistral's well-maintained systems inexplicably failed, leaving us stranded in darkness and silence. All communication channels were dead, and the darkness outside seemed to amplify an unearthly glow emanating from the depths below. Vast, pulsating shapes of eerie colors swirled ominously beneath the calm surface, their movements hinting at unimaginable size and speed. A mysterious, mind-numbing hum filled the air as every light on the ship suddenly flared and exploded in a shower of sparks, leaving us in pitch blackness. We were adrift in an electrically shattered coffin, cut off from the world, surrounded by the sinister glow of the unknown. As the terror consumed us, the crew began to crumble under the weight of madness. One by one, they succumbed to the malevolence that gripped our vessel. The captain, a man I had known for years, transformed into a frenzied, bloodthirsty beast, driven to violent insanity. His actions were savage, driven by a malevolent force that had overtaken his soul. The horror only escalated as the ship's corridors turned into death traps, filled with carnage and despair. The crew descended into primal savagery, their humanity stripped away, leaving behind monstrous shells of their former selves. As the days passed, the sense of isolation on the Mistral grew increasingly suffocating. The eerie glow from below the surface haunted our every waking moment. It seemed to seep into our minds, playing tricks on our senses and driving us to the edge of sanity. During the long, silent nights, strange whispers echoed through the empty corridors. We dismissed them as the products of our frayed nerves, but there was no denying the fear that gnawed at us like a relentless predator. As the situation deteriorated, I tried to maintain order and uphold the discipline expected of a naval officer. However, the crew's nerves were on edge, and I struggled to keep the terror at bay. Reports of sightings of shadowy figures darting in and out of the fog circulated among the crew, further fueling the growing paranoia. One night, as I was making my rounds, I came across a group of enlisted men huddled in a corner, speaking in hushed tones. They claimed to have seen monstrous shapes lurking in the dark, with eyes that glowed like burning embers. I tried to reassure them, to dismiss it as a collective illusion brought on by fear, but deep down, I couldn't shake the sense that something sinister was lurking just beyond our vision. In an attempt to find some answers, I scoured the ship's archives, searching for any mention of strange occurrences in this region. I stumbled upon an old log entry from a ship that had crossed these waters decades ago. The description matched what we were experiencing: the unearthly lights, the maddening hum, and the subsequent madness that engulfed the crew. That ship, too, had met a grim fate, disappearing without a trace. With a growing sense of dread, I knew we were caught in a cycle of horror that had claimed others before us. Whatever malevolent force resided beneath these waters, it had a history of ensnaring ships and their crews, leaving only madness and death in its wake. As I continued my investigation, I found a cryptic note in the ship's log, mentioning a mysterious artifact recovered from the North Sea during a top-secret mission. There were rumors that it had unleashed something unspeakable. The entry suggested the artifact was hidden on board the Mistral. Could this be the source of our torment? I knew we had to act quickly. But our attempts to locate the artifact were futile. Panic was spreading like wildfire among the crew, and I could feel my own grip on reality slipping away. I could no longer trust my own thoughts, my own senses. Then, the madness reached its peak. The crew members turned against each other, driven by their darkest fears and instincts. It was as if something had possessed them, forcing them to confront their deepest, most violent desires. In my desperate attempts to maintain control, I found myself in a deadly struggle with one of the junior officers, a man I had mentored and trusted. He lunged at me with wild eyes, driven by an insatiable hunger for violence. In the chaos, I managed to disarm him, but the encounter left me wounded and shaken. As I retreated to the deck, I was faced with a grim reality. The Mistral was no longer a naval vessel. It had become a floating abomination, a vessel of madness and despair. The darkness around us seemed to swell, as if the malevolent force below was preparing to consume us all. I made the difficult decision to seal off the below-deck areas, hoping to contain the madness and prevent it from spreading further. But it was too late. The once proud USS Mistral had become a floating tomb, its deck stained with the blood of its crew, now reduced to savage beasts. As the cold claimed my body, I knew that my fate was sealed. I sat alone on the desolate deck, watching the last light of day surrender to the unforgiving darkness. There were no stars that night, just a heavy blanket of emptiness, much like the void that had enveloped our souls. In my final moments, I leave this warning to any who may come across this tale: stay far away from the cursed waters that swallowed the USS Mistral. Forget this ship and its tormented souls, for there are malevolent forces lurking beneath the frozen sea. Forces beyond human understanding, ancient and hungry, waiting to claim any unfortunate soul that dares to venture into their domain. Let the Mistral sink to the depths, a haunting relic of terror. Turn away from this nightmare and never speak of it again, for those who become entangled in its darkness will be forever haunted by the horrors that lie beneath.